Thank you for calling the Starfinder Helpdesk. Goat King speaking. What seems to be the problem? Getting lost in the machine? Don't know which wires to cut? We can help with that. First, there's a helpful cheat sheet I found on Reddit. I will have a link to that and an updated version of it on my Discord in the description of the video. What do you need from your character sheet? You need to know your engineering skill bonus, and at higher levels, you need to know how many ranks you have in the engineering skill and how many resolve points you have. What do you need to know from the Starship sheet? Mostly, you just need to know what the Starship's PCU rating is, as in how much power does its reactor put out. In combat, you're going to want to listen to calls about critical damage, low shields, and struggling teammates. As an engineer, you boost the ship's power and help repair damage during combat. You have 5 basic actions you need to know about, and the last 2 are push actions. Push actions cannot be performed if the system you rely upon is malfunctioning or wrecked. As an engineer, the system you rely upon is going to be the power core. Your first action is divert. With a DC 10 plus 1.5 times your Starship's tier, you can choose to divert power to one of 4 systems, being the engines, which increases the speed of the ship by 2 for this round, the sensors, which gives the science officers a +2 on their actions for this round, the weapons, where all damage dice rolled that come up as a 1 become a 2, or the shields, where you restore a number of shield points equal to 5% of your PCU rating. You can distribute these shield points as desired, but you cannot go over the maximum number of shield points your ship has. Hold it together is your next action. With the DC 15 plus 1.5 times your Starship tier, you select one damaged system and treat it as 2 steps less damaged for this round. If the sensors are malfunctioning, you treat them as if they're undamaged. If a system is wrecked, you treat it as if it's glitching. The hold it together action is not affected by damage to the power core. Patch is your third action, which allows you to select one damaged system and temporarily treat it as less damaged. The DC depends on how damaged the system is to start, being glitched with the DC 10 plus 1.5 times the Starship tier, malfunctioning 15 plus 1.5 times the Starship tier, or wrecked 20 plus 1.5 times the Starship tier. On a success, you treat the condition as 1 step less severe for the remainder of combat, 1 hour, or until the system takes critical damage again, in which case it acts as if you never patched it, and you add the new critical damage. And multiple engineers can work together to patch a system faster and get it further in one round. Your fourth action, which unlocks at level 6 or shortly after when you have 6 ranks in the engineering skill, has a DC 15 plus 1.5 times the Starship tier. It requires 1 resolve point to perform this action, and it is a push action, so if the core is malfunctioning or wrecked, you cannot perform this action. This functions as the divert action, except instead of diverting to 1 system, you divert to 3 different systems. Your final action is Quick Fix, DC 20 plus 1.5 times the Starship tier. It costs 1 resolve point to perform, and you need 12 skill ranks in the engineering skill in order to unlock this action. You remove damage from 1 system for 1 hour. However, it must be repaired normally after the hour is over. This is different from your previous options to reduce critical damage in that this actually repairs the system. So if you should take more critical damage to the system, it starts from the beginning instead of resuming where it left off. Thank you again for calling the Starfinder Helpdesk. I'm glad we could get those wires uncrossed for you.